In emotional testimony before the Senate Agriculture Committee, the importance of farm safety came to light.
Our son, Landon, is not a statistic. He was our son. He was a brother. He was a friend. He was a boyfriend, a grandson. And he died alone in a grain bin. Against OSHA's rules and regulations of two people being with any time when you're working around a grain bin, having two with him. He was alone for hours, found on an empty grain bin floor. This death was preventable. And that is my point. We need to prevent the preventable. I'm asking you to please help me, our family, and every farm family that this possibly could happen to. And we never know when. We never know why. But we know it will happen again.
Senator Nick Frentz is author of a bill to create a farm safety grant program, and he now joins me in the studio. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Shannon.
This has been a particularly bad year in Minnesota for grain bin deaths. What brought this issue of farm safety generally and grain bin safety particularly to your attention?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, it's been a bad year for grain bin accidents and fatalities across the state. That's always tough for any of us to watch. And in August, we lost a young man in our district, Landon Grahn, to a grain bin accident. And working with his family, we conceived the legislation, working with farm groups and the Commissioner of Agriculture, and have brought it to where it is today.
Farming is dangerous work. Obviously, safety improvements across the board can make the work safer for people. So what are some of the safety items that are currently available to improve grain bin safety?
It's a great question, and farm safety is not a new topic for us. We've been working on it for decades as a state, University of Minnesota, individual farm groups. We used to have a farm safety advocate working for the extension. Harnesses, automatic shutoffs, protections for the auger, the sweep, other innovations that are out there that people have talked about which aren't to market yet, lots of things. And the bill would allow all of those to be cost shared by the state in a voluntary grant program. And it has a specific part of it that says other safety features. So if this spurs innovation and safety, that'd be a great thing and it'd be covered.
So grain bin safety is one thing, tractor rollovers is another category in your bill. That's another leading cause of death on the farm. And newer tractors do have rollover safety features, but for a variety of reasons, many farmers prefer their older technology, and it doesn't have the rollover safety. So how much does it cost to retrofit your tractor, and how much would these grants be for?
Well, we've seen some different estimates that the average tractor retrofit, which we define as before 87, about $800, $850. And so the cost share is 70% for the state, up to a maximum. And that means the farmer can, on a voluntary basis, find a retrofit kit that protects the farmer when it's rolled over and install it. We also created a provision in 2017 that I authored that allows school agricultural education programs to get 100% of the cost share.
So school agriculture gets 100%, but for both grain bin and tractor safety, is it sort of 70-30 where the state gives a grant for 70%, the farmer ponies up 30%?
Good question. You did your homework. We're going to have, in the current version of the bill, which as you may know cleared the Senate Agriculture Policy Committee and is headed to Agriculture Finance, which I'm proud to serve on, 75%, up to $1,000, whichever is less. So that sort of defines the boundaries of what the farmer can apply for, and also a little bit of the cost parameters.
I ask just because I grew up in a rural area, and I know that farmers can be frugal, they can be independent, and they're pretty risk tolerant because they live in the boom bust cycle of the weather. Anyway, so you know, there's a certain amount of taking their chances that they're used to doing, and yet as a state we want them to be safe. So how do you convince them to really take safety into consideration?
Well, I think we always want to focus on workplace safety, whether your job is a fireman or you work in a factory or you work in an office or you work on a farm. So I hope workplace safety is everybody's priority. What we do when we talk to these groups and what we talk to individual farmers is, first of all, point out that safety can be a good investment, a good value. Point out that tragic things do happen and that the more grain is stored in the bins, the more we have people in these bins and the more we're at risk of these accidents. And just ask them to consider some things that maybe they hadn't thought of before. We do hear a lot about the automatic shutoff and the question of whether a farmer can wear something on his wrist, and maybe that's a little bit less intrusive to the farmer's day-to-day operation. Maybe it causes some to go ahead and apply for the program. If we were able to avoid some accidents, I think the bill's been a success.
Do you think there's a generational shift? Maybe, I know that farming currently, farmers tend to be older, but there are new farmers coming up. Do you think the younger farmers will be more interested in these safety features maybe than their older peers are?
I do, and that's a good question because we're watching a generational change now as the farms go to the sons and daughters of lifetime farmers across the state. We're also hoping to fund, by the way, the RFA, which allows for some beginning farmer loans. That's a different topic for the same committee. All we can ask of younger farmers is take a look at why these things might be good for you and your family. And if we do, we think we'll find some willing takers, again, in this voluntary program.
We've talked about two major areas, grain bin safety and tractor rollovers. Are there other areas of farm safety that are kind of on the horizon that maybe you would think about in the future rolling into a bill like this?
I'd say those are the two main ones that we hear about, and unfortunately we hear about grain bin safety because of the unfortunate tragedies of the last year or so. So again, with workplace safety, whether it's farm or not, we see electrical issues, we see fencing, we see livestock. We want to promote safety in those ways too. I don't see the next safety issue on the horizon, at least this session.
Republican Senator Tori Westrom has a bill that would create grain storage facility safety curriculum that would be taught through the University of Minnesota Extension. This is another, do you agree that this is also a good idea?
I do. I could not support that idea more. As you may know, our bill, which is Senate File 3007, has an education component which can be administered under the current language through the Department of Agriculture and the Commissioner Tom Peterson. But to make safety curriculum a part of the way the next generation studies, I think that's exactly what we should be doing. Again, for an investment now, we may prevent tragedies later. The only thing is those families for whom we prevent the tragedies don't know that they had it avoided. They didn't get the call that there was a tragedy, and so we really don't have that group advocating to say, hey, my son didn't get in an accident or my father wasn't in this grain bin. But at the University of Minnesota, to add it into the curriculum, I think is exactly the direction we should be going.
Do you have bipartisan support?
I do. I'm very proud to have Senator Draheim, who's my neighbor in Senate District 20. He's actually a Mankato East graduate, as an author on the bill, and Senator Dames is preparing to sign on to the bill as well, in addition to my friends on the DFL side, Senator Kent Eakin and Senator Dan Sparks, both of whom have a farm background. And you know, what we're asking for the people of Minnesota to consider is, isn't everybody in Minnesota important, and shouldn't we protect them in the workplace? And with what we're seeing in farm safety and the surplus, seems like a time to invest some money into these things. And if we have the kind of success we did with the tractor rollover protection system bill, I think we'll be very well served.
Senator Nick Frentz, thank you.
Thanks, Shannon. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.